What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sang, and today I'm going to be reacting to an interview that Kanye recently just did with Tucker Carlson. If you guys haven't heard, at least this week, at time of recording this whole week, people have been in an uproar because Kanye wore a shirt that said White Lives Matter. If you're new to Kanye, I guess this would shock you, but as a Kanye fan, this is pretty normal Kanye behavior, and it also doesn't mean what you all think it means. If you remember, during the time he was promoting Yeezus, he had the Confederate flag on a lot of his merch and jackets, and he was like, at that point in time, a lot of people were mad about that, and he was just like, no, I'm gonna take this back and make it mean something else. Like, on some pure rock star type stuff. People took it the wrong way. If you want to know my take on it, I am a Kanye fan. I don't follow much of what he does nowadays, but I saw this pop up because everybody keeps complaining about it, so let's watch it together and see what's going on.
Just came from Paris Fashion Week. You just landed, and you have a lanyard still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen, I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
Facts. Recently in a video I put up, I'll try to link it here somewhere in the video, put a card up or something. But it's when Bo Diddle was talking to the gay Christians at the gay pride event. In there, I paused it and I put a statistic up when I was talking about it. So for every 1,000 abortions, 400, what was the number? 400 and something of that was black children being aborted, pretty much. And we're also number one, like the black community is number one for abortion. So that means that remaining 500 and something is split amongst all the other races. 400 something comes just from us alone. And I said in that video, I'm like, if we were actually more selective about who we're sleeping with and actually keeping these babies instead of aborting them out, we wouldn't be a minority anymore. Because at some point, the way the world's going, because everybody's mixing up with each other, at some point, way past my lifetime, everybody's going to be this skin color. Because everybody's going to be all mixed up and whatnot. But until then, until we get to that point, from when abortions first became available up until now, if we actually kept our children because we were more selective on who we slept with instead of just everybody just randomly sleeping with everybody unprotected, we more than likely would not be the minority race anymore. But it is what it is.
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet. When did you start to feel this way? When did you start to realize this?
I really felt like, I think I started to really feel this need to express myself on another level when Trump was running for office and I liked him.
Yes.
And every single person in Hollywood, from my ex-wife to my mother-in-law to my manager at that time to, you know, my so-called friends / handlers around me, told me, like, if I said that I liked Trump, that my career would be over, that my life would be over. They said stuff like people get killed for wearing a hat like that. They threatened my life. They put my life. They basically said that I would be killed for wearing the hat. I had someone call me last night and said anybody wearing a White Lives Matter shirt is going to be greenlit, and that means that they're going to beat them up if they wear it. And I'm like, you know, okay, green light me then.
Yeah, he's not wrong. During that time period, they did paint him out to be super crazy, off the wall. Now, don't get me wrong. There was interviews, the public interviews. Now, I don't know what him and Trump talked about behind the scenes, but the public interviews where he was like, I like that we both are, what'd he say? They both had dragon blood or something. It sounded ridiculous. And he co-signed that he said that too. So, like, a lot of that stuff did sound ridiculous. And I don't know if like the media just took the bad takes and pumped them out in front of all of us, but they did really paint him to be crazy at that time for supporting Trump. In the same breath, the whole MAGA hat thing, if you really think about it, everybody on the left is like, we have to be tolerant and all this other nonsense that they preach. Yet, if anybody wore that hat, they were beaten, just harassed, assaulted. It was insane. Like, you could be doing a peaceful protest. I'll never forget the video where a black kid, he was just in a fast food joint eating, and he just had the hat on, and he just got harassed out of nowhere by a bunch of people and punched just because he had that hat on. It was insane. And then the headline at the time was, oh, he's causing division amongst the country. And it's like, y'all are creating it. Nobody said take them out for like wearing merchandise. That was insane. That was an insane period in time. And it was really spurred on by the left, which was even crazier. Now that I look back on everything. Now, Kanye, I'm not going to lie, Kanye does have had some wild takes throughout his career, but at that point, moving up until now, they've really tried to paint him crazy. And I feel like since he's been divorced, I don't know if it's official yet, but I know him and Kim aren't together anymore. I feel like ever since he got away from that family, he seems more calm now in interviews. Because this isn't... I saw another interview recently, like earlier this week. He was talking to... I don't remember the female reporter's name, but he seemed calm in that too. He just seems more at peace instead of just wild and crazy energy that was going on.
You know, God builds warriors in a different way. I don't know if it's because of me being born in Atlanta and growing up on the south side of Chicago that, you know, he made me for such a time like this. It's like with David, you know, he tended to the sheep, but while he was out there, he had to fight all kinds of animals. So when it was time for Goliath to come, you thought because he was a sheep herder that he didn't have the skill set to take down Goliath. And the thing that I have is the position, I have my heart, but the number one thing is we have God on our side. And for the people, even if you don't believe in God, God believes in you.
So you made reference to the White Lives Matter t-shirt, which you brought out at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, and what did it mean?
It was him and Candace Owens wore it together. Just for, you know, a little backstory.
You know, I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right.
There was a picture.
It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and just brilliance. You know, like as if you asked like Tanya Harding how she did the triple flip or the triple spin. Yeah. She was in so much practice that when it was time for her to skate in a competitive format, it just happened. Like it happened outside of practice. It happened in the real format, and that's what's happening. Is God is like preparing us for the real battles, and we are in a battle with the media. Like the majority of the media has a godless agenda, and the jokes in that work, and this whole like, oh yeah, he's crazy and all these things, they don't work because the media has, you know, they've also watched travesties happen, just even specifically to me, and just watch it and act like it wasn't happening, and they stay quiet about it.
What have they?
I want to answer the white. Yeah. I feel like someone caught what I was saying, the comparison to Tanya Harding about the White Lives Matter. You know, my dad is an educated ex-Black Panther, and he put a text to me today. He said, "White Lives Matter, ha 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 ha." And I said, I thought the shirt was a funny shirt. I thought the idea of me wearing it was funny. And I said, "Dad, why do you think it was funny?" He said, just a Black man stating the obvious. Yeah. And, you know, my dad doesn't listen to rap music, and he's like super educated. We opened up a water distribution center in the Dominican Republic together. He's like the original Steve Jobs, but he was getting blocked every which way with all of his ideas. And he didn't have an endless bank account, and he didn't have an Instagram. So all these ideas, he had to like take them back and compress them. Like, my dad is the most brilliant person that I know, and we actually have a strained relationship because I was taken from him. Because my mom was an actress, so she was a liberal. And my dad would see certain things and say, you know, we should do it this way, we should do it that way. And the people got around my mom and pulled her away, much like, you know, Kim is a Christian, but she has people who want her to go to Interview magazine and put her ass out while she's a 40-something-year-old multi-billionaire with 4 black children. And this is how fashion wants to, how they want to present her. So I know you give these questions, and I give you like these 3-part answers. Is this a cool format for you?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, cool.
To be fair, Kanye, like, her history before y'all got together and you had kids with her, you already knew what it was. We all knew what it was. We knew Kim pimped her daughters out, especially, not Kim, Chris. We knew Chris pimped her daughters out, starting with Kim. We knew back then that she pimped her out for that sex tape. That's why it's so weird that everybody's talking about that sex tape now, and they're all shocked. They're like, oh my gosh, Chris looked at the tape and there was multiple tapes. Yeah, where y'all been at? Like, I really feel like that has to be the younger generation tripping off that, but when it first came out when I was younger, we all already knew that was a thing. That's like, now I think about it, like, even with the whole R. Kelly thing, when they finally got him now, like, we been knew that when I was in elementary school. We knew he was already that type of... What took y'all so long? What took y'all so long to catch up with all these weird?
And I am following it.
All right.
So you said that your father said when he saw the shirt White Lives Matter, it's great to see a black man stating the obvious. So by which I think you meant that's obviously true.
Yeah, that's my favorite response, because I kept on thinking, like, you know, people, they're looking for an explanation, and people say, well, as an artist, you don't have to give an explanation, but as a leader, you do.
Yes, I think that's right.
That's true.
So the answer to why I wrote White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's lives matter. Obviously, I understand. So when Black Lives Matter first came out with that whole distinction where they're like, Black Lives Matter, and it's like, because they felt like our lives didn't matter amongst everybody else's. We all know the story of slavery, which led on to systematic racism. We get it, right? But in the grand scheme of things, like, we are all one people. So essentially, all of our lives should technically matter. You know what I'm saying? We all need to be kind and one with one another. That's how it should be. Now, the reality of it, because a lot of people, we don't have that religious standard anymore, that moral standard, that the consequences for your actions, everybody just feels like they could do whatever they want. They're not going to get touched. You can treat anybody however you want, because whatever, right? But the reality of it is we all should be treating each other with compassion and stuff. And you know what else I noticed? Once you start making more money, because you also see this as you start making more money, and I hate to say it like that, but the middle class and down are so focused on race. It is insane. Once you actually start getting into a position where you're making money, like, and you start getting comfortable before you start hitting those upper stages, you start realizing the people at this level versus like this level, they don't care about none of that. They all are on the same page, and what they care about is green. That is the only color they care about. Outside of that, they all view each other the same, pretty much. It's just, from my personal experience, that's what I have noticed, right? Now, you are going to have, like, your super old people that was probably around during slavery and stuff that still be tripping, but as time goes on and we progress, from my personal experience, once you start moving up, that's not even a thing anymore. Middle class and down, the only ones that care about race.
Why do you think that's so? And I assume the implication is, of course, all lives matter because they're lives, because God created them. Yeah. Why do you think that would be considered controversial?
Because the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. My dad grew up as a military brat, and his family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware. And at the time, if they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. And he would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college, he would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And then he played the kick drum in the band. So when he would go to the club and the music was playing, where would he clap his hands? Where the kick drum is.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of where everyone else
Right,
was clapping their hands. And this is the most elegant and tasteful person that I know. And when my mom, when the school suggested, like the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us. And they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And so my mom, she had a PhD, and she was influenced to move to the south side of Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. And she told my dad, if you come for us, you'll never see him again. Because, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children. And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me that she was told that. There's so many things that are put in Kim's head. They bring influencers, like no one ever knew where Corey Gamble came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion. And one of the things that they're really good at doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is, for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University, or whether it's the most influential white woman on the planet, being my ex-wife, they have people that are around them at all times telling them what to be afraid of. It's like not what to do or say specifically, it's what to be afraid of. And if you have a person that isn't afraid of them, like a Russell Brand or Candace Owens,
right.
It's not that we have to agree with this, but
they're not afraid.
They're not afraid to state what their opinion is.
Yes.
No one is God, and everyone has an opinion.
Facts. To even touch on when he said they separate us by our colors, like in the black community. You ever notice where you're black, I guess I'm talking to the black community now, but you ever notice when you just talk English, just no slang words or anything, if you talk English and you happen to use a bigger word or something, you ain't even gotta use a bigger word. You're just talking English, which they like to call proper. They're like, oh, you talk proper, you talk like a white person. I'm speaking the language we all learned when we were coming up, because this is the language of America, essentially. This actually is the #1 language in the world. You want to be for real about it, but I never understood that distinction where it's if you're not speaking Ebonics, you're not black enough, right? Then you got the whole colorism thing, which stems from slavery, mind you. I'm not black enough because of this. And it's like, you're never enough. And it's weird because, like, being a mixed kid growing up, I was never, and J. Cole has said this in lyrics too, that's why I like J. Cole's music a lot, and I can relate to a lot of things he's saying. But he said this in one of his songs before. He was like, I wasn't black enough for the black kids. I was too white for the black kids, too black for the white kids. It's like you don't really fit in anywhere because kids, you know, you're taught from your environment. So your parents, whoever's raising you, guardian, whatever, are telling you certain things. And it's like, well, this person act like this and blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, yo, I'm just being me. That's why I said it's really a middle class and down type thing. Once you start going up, nobody really cares. They care about networking and money. They don't care what color you are. If y'all can be beneficial to each other, cool. They don't care about anything. It's really a middle class and down thing, which is sad. It's extremely sad. But that's actually a good interview from Kanye. He's definitely very different from the old interviews where he just be spazzing out the whole time he's talking to whoever he's talking to. It's very calm. He got his points off. I liked it a lot, man. I liked it a lot. If you want to see me react to more content like this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when I drop a video. I am planning on dropping a new video schedule, so hit that notification bell so you see when I put the channel update video on. And that's about it, y'all. With that said, you already know who it is. It's Sang.